How can you work in having a good relationship with yourself?
Work hard at it and we focus on it, then we can make it happen.
People who have accomplished great things did accomplish great things because they didn't give up.
Don't view it as a mission impossible. View everything as a mission possible.
I just thought I knew what her life was. She called me.
Online stalking, a mysterious death, and an imposter takes center stage in the new series Chloe. What can the audience expect from this fascinating psychological series from Amazon Studios?
I think they can expect the unexpected, as cheesy as that is. I think this story doesn't follow the route that you think it's going to go down, and I think every episode and even every scene you expect the next thing to happen, but it completely flips it on its head, and no one person in the show is consistent. And I think that's really brilliant. You can't really rest. You're constantly trying to understand who anyone is at any given point, and that's why it's so intriguing and strong with what it does, I think.
The audience can expect a very wild, thrilling, and captivating ride from start to finish.
Everything he said.
Thank you for taking me in. Who's this?
A very good friend. She actually died recently.
Some of the questions posed by the trailer are about how well do we really know the life of the people who we follow online, and how honestly do we present our own reality through social media? What are your thoughts and points of view about these questions?
I think the whole element of social media with this show is really important and really pressing. I think our relationship with social media at the minute, hopefully, is being addressed. I think people are starting to understand that it doesn't necessarily promote great mental health, and I think this show is really good at making you see those behaviours. Like when you see Becky scrolling at 3 a.m. or whatever, it's not until you see that you're like, oh God, like I definitely relate to that. Like I think that's what I'm most excited about people seeing, and I think it's a necessary talking point. I hope that it highlights that.
Social media is a tool, and it's a tool that is used to create your own version of yourself. So when watching the show Chloe, you'll see what can happen when that becomes an extreme, when someone gets too wrapped up into the world of doom scrolling and trying to figure out, what happens to this one individual.
I think our show does a really good job of possibly putting a spotlight on a lot of people in terms of how people use social media. And sometimes I'm guessing that some people would never admit to using social media in the way that Becky Sasha does, but I'm sure a lot of people do. And it might make them think about how they use social media. And, as Brandon said, it's such a powerful tool. In my opinion, it kind of runs the world. But also, I think everybody does know that there is this dark side to it too. So I think our show does a really good job of bringing that to light, but not necessarily in a way that you can have an ongoing conversation about it post watching the show. It doesn't feel like fast, like, the equivalent of fast fashion. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like sustainable fashion, so that you which is quite an odd comparison, but you know what I mean.
This is Sasha, by the way.
I know Sasha? What is going on, Becky?
I'd just like to decide how people see me.
And the trailer teases Chloe's charmed life, adoring husband, and a circle of high-achieving friends who are always just a click away. However, nothing is what it seems. In terms of the script, what part of the story for you both is the most powerful and why?
For my character is coming to terms with how this tornado of a woman has come into her life and torn it apart, and accepting that, and learning new things about old friends that she didn't even think were possible. So I think the fact that could happen to any of us, I suppose, that suddenly your life is turned on its head, and accepting that and dealing with it.
And also for Josh, I would say it's because Josh is very much the audience's perspective on what's happening in the show. And so I think once things become extreme, how much people, other people, outside forces can become captivated and really, push you forward and to keep going in the same direction. Even though Josh tells her the pitfalls that she's going to fall into, he kind of plays her at her same game,
I was hugely drawn in by Becky's relationship with her mum. I think that's the catalyst for why she behaves this way and why she's so desperate for escape. I think the situation that she finds herself in at home, having to inevitably be her mother's carer, really, really scares Becky, and she's just trying to fill time before she's inevitably consumed by that. And so making sure that was portrayed as truthfully and as brutally honest as it could be was really important, and I hope that we did it justice.
I'm Sasha Miles. Nice to meet you.
A pleasure.
In terms of self-esteem, we can see Becky somehow struggle with low self-esteem and paranoia. She does not have much of a social life and no real friends. She spends her spare time on Instagram and coding her way into social events using someone else's identity. How does social media affect our self-esteem?
I think, it's got a lot to answer for. I think it's the whole cliche of comparison is the thief of joy, and I think this show is really brilliant at just kind of forcing you to think about that. I think we're constantly bombarded by these images of perfection that isn't really truthful, and this show is brilliant at kind of reinforcing that, at going, yes, Chloe had all these amazing pictures that someone would dream of on paper, but like she was not happy, and I think that's true of a lot of people, and hopefully it allows people to connect those dots, and it removes the importance of likes and followers.
I mean,
It doesn't boost it.
No, it doesn't. But then I think also it can as well. I think it depends how you're using the apps.
There you go.
Actually, I think I see lots of kind of sports people and fitness people, and again, we never know what's going on behind closed doors, of course. But I feel it can be quite an uplifting place if you're using it, or if your mind is in that place. Exactly. If your intention is positive, you'll get something positive out of it. I think if you're going to it in a vulnerable place of feeling less than, then that's what you're going to take from it. I think it is what you make it.
It is exactly what you make it. Yeah.
Hey, this is Sasha. Thank you for taking me in.
The series consists on 6 episodes. From all of the 6 episodes, which one are your favorite and why?
Episode 1's my favorite.
Episode 1.
Before everything goes down. I think it's just because you get all those lovely, you get to see everybody in their original habitat before Becky Sasha comes and destroys it. So I think for me that's episode 1.
Yeah. It's a lot packed into that one episode.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how was the casting process? How did you guys end up participating in this series, Chloe, from Amazon?
It was quite straightforward. It's the traditional route of being sent the script. I think we both had Zooms with Alice and self-taped, and then I had a chemistry test with Erin, and yeah.
And then we all had Zoom readings, 2 or 4, just 2.
2
Zoom readings, and then we were off to the races.
Yeah.
Who's this?
A very good friend. She actually died recently.
How did it happen?
And while shooting, what was the most fascinating thing to do while being on set? Can you guys describe how was the behind the scenes?
Singing Peaches and trying to do the Peaches dance.
We still haven't done that yet. We made up a dance. There were lots of with filming, there's quite a lot of waiting around. Yeah. And so to fill the time, we came up with this dance to Peaches by Justin Bieber, which was Erin and I, during our first 2 weeks of the shoot, we would come up, we'd do funny thing with our hands, and we made it into a dance.
Yeah. We still gotta do it.
That's fun.
Because we weren't there, and that's why she's dead. Enough.
I really am sorry about your wife.
Thank you.
Talking about social media once again, I believe that many people try to live up an idea that you can ever quite live up to. What is the biggest lesson from this story regarding to social media?
Be careful what you put out, because you don't know who's watching.
And be careful what you take in,
Yeah.
because what it can do to you mentally.
Yeah.
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 On both sides of the coin.
Yeah. And also what we said earlier, it is what you put in, and is what you,